First year, I think we were about an $8 million company. Year 2, roughly 35. Year 3, we got hit with a strike, right? So we kind of finished the year about 38. This year, on pace for 100.
Great growth. Back, OSP TV Season 2. As always, I got the co-pilot, the co-captain, the sheriff, newly grown beard, as you can see. CB, welcome back, sir.
How's it looking?
I'm
Getting
proud.
there.
I'm proud. You're
a little bit of grooming.
Welcome to the club, sir.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. Without further ado, I'd like to formally welcome our guest, Mr. Josh Morris. He comes to us from DQS, Detroit Quality Staffing. Also got a chance to meet this gentleman earlier in the year at a charity event, but we'll get to that later. But Josh, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Welcome. So it's nice to finally have you here. I know we've been talking about this here and there, getting you on the podcast, which, you know, this podcast is catered towards business, you know, people in general, sales, entrepreneurs. You're actually our first guest, Season 2, that doesn't come from within OSP. So super excited about that and to learn more about what you guys got going on over at DQS. So why don't you give us the elevator background / pitch on yourself and DQS.
Yeah, so we started DQS 3 years ago. You know, just kind of started out with a bunch of friends and said, hey, this is how we want to run a business. And we weren't too pleased with how the staffing industry treated employees and whatnot. And so we kind of just started it. And from there, just doing right by people helped us grow tremendously.
Was there a moment that kind of made you realize, like, okay, I didn't want to step away from what I might have been doing before and want to tackle this new challenge?
Yeah, there was, you know, kind of several moments. Like, we were a big Ford supplier at the time, and I think Ford was saying, hey, we're going to take this work in-house. And as a leader of a company, you bring people in who, you know, look for you for guidance and support. And so we kind of started DQS as a place to be able to provide a home for these folks, and it just evolved so much from there.
Okay, so you had mentioned you founded DQS with some friends. Were they friends that you'd worked with in staffing before?
No, so we weren't in staffing. We were in automotive logistics.
Okay.
And they were friends that worked for me at the plant that I ran.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. I picked up you said that you and a couple friends co-founded DQS. What's it like being in business with your friends?
It's good and it's bad, and it just depends on the day. I think you know them very well,
right?
And so you know their strengths, their weaknesses. You know what makes them tick, what makes them excited. So some days you can get under their skin, and they can get under yours.
So I have to ask, you know, because it seems like you were in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Right? How long were you in a corporate setting career for?
About 12 years, 13 years.
So 12 years. What was that fear like, leaving that to go open up your own business and pursue the more entrepreneurial route? Because that's not normal, you know, for someone that kind of grew up their career in the corporate setting. It's got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. It was an extreme risk. I think I mortgaged everything I had, took loans out wherever I could. But there was this huge fear. But there was a trust in the people around me. There was a trust in myself and a belief that we could be successful. So we just took the leap.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love hearing about stories like this. You know, we use it a lot at OSP, you know, essentially betting on yourself, right? A lot of our people are performance-based, you know, the majority of the company, all the sales reps, the directors, like, so you really are kind of betting on yourself. And, you know, you kind of, sounds like you pushed all the chips to the center of the table. I guess one question I would ask, what advice would you give to somebody opening their own business now that you went through it? you look back, what advice would you give to somebody?
I think it's have a plan, but also don't have a plan.
Yeah.
When we started the company, we were a staffing company and that was it.
Right.
But from there, we're now a security company. We do snow plowing. We do solutions-based thinking, right? So we put up warehouses. And so just not having that plan in general, being open to what the need is of the community and the customers around you. And then from there, you're able to evolve and not pigeonhole yourself into one particular thing.
Now, did you jump into or have the idea to have all of those different avenues for your business, or were you really just focused on the one when you started?
No, so when we started, we were actually focused on quality containment, quality sorting of parts, right? Even though we were saying, hey, we're going to be a staffing provider, we went to a bunch of potential investors at the time, and I said, hey, in 2 years, we'll be a $25 million company. And these same folks said, absolutely not. No company is going to get to that level within 2 years unless you have a hedge fund behind you or whatever the case may be. And we said, no, we're going to be there. And they laughed at me, basically told me to get out. And so, we mortgaged the farm, but at the same time, we needed income to come in to be able to produce that output that we needed. So we started off as a quality containment company, built the staffing side, and watched the staffing side sort of grow while the quality side was funding the staffing side. And then from there, as that really took off, then we started to evolve even farther.
That's cool.
I want to go back a little bit. There's a lot of value in something you said a minute ago, having a plan, but not having a plan. And what I'm hearing is I totally agree with, and we kind of set up all of our sales directors who own their own branch per se. We have the plan. We have a business plan, and you have to have one. One of the top, I've read several times, 3 to 5 reasons any site you look on, businesses, startups fail is they don't have a plan. But then the other side of it, there's a lot of people that never open their own business because they wait for everything to be perfect, right? They spend more time on preparation, putting this plan together, waiting for all the pieces to fall in place, and that's just not going to happen. So how much of it was, a mayor who's our VP of sales always says, just jump in and we'll learn how to swim later. How much of that was going on?
I mean, that still goes on today,
yeah,
right?
100%.
We're 3.5 years in, and I think every year you've seen this massive growth within our company. And it's still every day we're jumping in and saying, okay, how do we figure this out and how do we execute? And so there's always that thought process of we had a business plan, and our business plan said this is how we're going to run culture and this is how we're going to do certain business activities, but when it came to how we take care of our customers and how we take care of our people, that varies by the customer, by the person, right? And so just not having that plan is
and the other thing that I hear from that, is have a plan but don't have a plan, and you see it all the time. And I bet coming up, with through Ford and now in staffing and stuff, you've seen it. Businesses that don't pivot, evolve, they get left behind. I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world. The example I always use is Blockbuster. They never evolved. They went from, a household name to, they don't even exist anymore. How changing, of an environment, is the staffing industry?
So it's really not changing. However, good companies will change.
Yeah.
Right? And so we didn't come into staffing and say, I want to do staffing like every other company out there. We came in and said, we want to do it totally different. And so other companies, they use ATSs and they'll send out mass text messages to employees who are already working at certain assignments. We said, absolutely not. So we don't carry an ATS to this day. And we manage 3,000 people. And so how do we do that, right? It is simply, we do it our own way. We have our own little secret sauce that kind of goes into it, but we make sure that we're on the cutting edge of kind of what we're doing. We have a phone app that's sort of like the Tinder of staffing, the swipe right, swipe left, confetti rains from the sky, right? And so,
nice.
We're just trying to do it differently than someone else, which is, that's how you make it.
I love that. I'm hearing a lot of similarities here. So we're in a similar business, right? In a sense that it's archaic. Yep. We're the new kids on the block, And I remember when Amir came in and we started, building things out, he just said, like, this is a caveman's business. We need to move it forward. And it's something that we strive to do here. We're the first one in the industry. We have our own podcast, TV station, new subsidiaries, online training courses. We're constantly looking to evolve and do things that other people aren't doing, because it's how you get ahead. It's how you stay relevant.
Yeah. And we see that, right? So, when we started DQS, the first place I ever came was OSP. And it wasn't to sell to OSP.
Right.
It was to come see culture, which was very different than the culture I was used to in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Right? The corporate world is cutthroat, is dog eat dog. And you come in here and it's not like that. There's this family culture. There's this environment that's all about the brand and all about what you're putting out there and the people that are a part of that brand. And so, you come and see that, and now we try to duplicate that in our office, right? We have a podcast that they're working on and trying to get that out, and we just moved into a new 80,000 square foot building. And,
nice.
And so we're going through and revamping that and putting a golf simulator in, which I heard you wanted one.
Dean Bassam, if you are listening.
Yeah. But it's just really about getting that culture, right? Because we spend so much time at work, and it needs to be somewhat fun, or you need to be able to let off steam in some manner. So
that's awesome. I love hearing that. I'm glad I think we're doing maybe, that we're doing something right. And as far as that goes, because I think, as you said, you spend 12 years in corporate America, and you're right. You spend a lot of time there, Me and CB have been spending a lot of time together for the last 10 years. Why would you not enjoy it? And in my opinion, when people are happy, they perform better. Like when I had a friend here, every time I bring a friend or a family here, they're like, wait a minute, this is where you work?
Right. Like, do you even work here? Like,
yeah, what do you mean? What's it like where you work? So I love that you guys are doing that. I think it's the way of the future. I think culture is more important in a workplace now than it's ever been. Yeah. And it's clearly working, because I think you shared with me, what did you guys do your first year?
First year, I think we're about an $8 million company. Year 2, roughly 35. Year 3, we got hit with a strike, right? So we kind of finished the year about 38. This year, on pace for 100.
Great growth. Awesome. That's amazing growth.
Well done. That's awesome. Congrats.
Yeah. You had mentioned that having, the right team around you, and obviously culture is important. How big do you think culture is for the growth of a company overall? In today's market?
I think it's bigger now than it ever was, right? I think if you saw anything during COVID, which we started our business in the middle of COVID, right? When kind of they shut everything down and they opened it back up, here we are starting DQS, and everyone's like, you're crazy, what are you doing? But what we saw, that the market shifted to an employee-driven market. It's no longer the employer that's making the rules, it's the employees. And so we've just kept that mentality. Even though you have some industries trying to shift back, you're never getting that back again. The employees run the show, and you have to be a servant for them. And if you're not having that servant mentality, then what are you doing, right? Like your company's not going to get where you want it to go, because the people are not invested. They don't have that entrepreneurial spirit to grow the business the right way.
You're right. I think part of what drives it, is historically, people only knew what they saw, or and they could compare it to maybe what their inner circle, what their workplace looked like. Now, companies all have Instagrams, they all have LinkedIns, they all have easily accessible websites, and, all that stuff. It's easy to see what's out there. Everybody's so connected. It's a glass house now, and I think that's a lot of what drives it. And speaking of things we have in common and employees and stuff like that, you guys obviously do a lot of staffing. We're in sales for the most part, but I always tell people, we're half a sales business, half a recruiting business. What do you think? What are you seeing out there in the job market these days? What people are looking for? Changes, trends. What are you seeing?
I mean, it's just culture fit. It's what is your work-life balance? people are now way more connected at work.
Yeah.
And that work doesn't necessarily end at 5 p.m., but it also doesn't necessarily start at 9 a.m. It's just, hey, you have to be there for your customers. You have to be there for your employees. But at the same time, you also have to be a parent. You have to be a husband and a wife. And these things, you have to be able to cater to those things. Otherwise, you have employees who are not happy.
Yeah. And we use a staffing company in a sense of for their they specialize in like Indeed. Yeah. We do a lot of recruiting on Indeed, and they kind of it's a supplemental thing. All of our office individually recruit on their own, but a lot of it is through sites like Indeed and job fairs, trying to get the new talent coming into the market. Are you guys predominantly hiring people internally that are less experienced, more experienced? Is there a diversity in that, or?
There's definitely a mix.
Yeah.
I don't focus on what's your background. I focus on who you are. And
I love that.
what you bring to the table, and do you have that alpha personality? Because I need that around me. Are you coming in and you want to be a leader, right? Because that's what I want. I want leaders. Leaders breed leaders. And so if you come in, I want someone who says, I don't care where I am today, but where I am tomorrow is going to be in your spot. And I just love that, right? You have 100%. That culture. So.
Yeah. And we've obviously touched base on how important culture is for the growth of a business in general. But you just hit on, having the right leaders in place. What do you feel is, like one of the best leadership styles, or at least is really driving the growth in your business?
I think leadership styles have to evolve to the person, right? So a good leader is able to be a chameleon. So it doesn't matter the situation. You can blend in, you can make it work. It's all about just finding how you serve the person in front of you, because business is about relationships. It will always be about relationships. And so how you serve that person in front of you, that determines that relationship. And if you want a positive outcome, serve them in a positive manner.
I love that.
Yeah, totally. Shota, let's check out some DQS stuff. Let's see what we got.
Check this
going
culture
on there.
You guys,
I was doing a little bit of homework on this. I love their website. And you're right. You guys have your hand in a little bit of everything. Security. What are you guys doing on the security front?
So we do a lot of finished vehicle security, a lot of warehouse security. So we have about 500 guards that work around the clock. A bunch of camera towers. We have a state-of-the-art command center with surrounded by TVs, and so it's monitored around the clock.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Shota, let's go to the culture about us tab. You got that somewhere? I think I saw some cool stuff on here the other day.
Do you do like awards galas and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we do this big birthday party for DQS, right? So every year we celebrate our birthday, and that's like a big deal. And then we have this huge company Christmas party. I mean, it's like awesome. It's like big time, and we give out a lot of customer awards and employee awards during that time.
Go to the cares.
And then obviously you've been to our flag football event that I put on for my birthday at Ford Field. And
where's that so much here? I got to check this out. The flag football. I saw it earlier.
Yeah, I think it's
I want to chat with you about that.
I think it's in culture.
Go to culture. Flag football.
I think you go down a little bit.
And softball.
Yeah, so we do a company softball game
there it is.
with one of our big customers, and then this flag football game that we put on, it's not really a charity thing. It never has been. It's always just an event that I throw for our customers and for our vendors and for the people that we have relationships with, cool. Right? So we just go out and we kind of get their teams together. We go build them whatever custom jersey that they like, and however way they want to mod it. And
speaking of that flag football tourney,
OSP was the winner.
Our first venture in the flag football, you know? And I must say, a lot of the peanut gallery around here was doubting us. Old washed up athletes, they said. But the proof is in the pudding. It was a blast, it checked off one of my childhood things, playing on a pro field. I played college football, but, we never got to play in a stadium like Ford Field. It was a blast. And to be honest, a lot of our sales directors come from an athletic background. I sense you do as well.
Yeah.
Looking for alphas, leaders, and the feedback, or like the what we got from them was, a lot of them were frustrated. We brought like 3 or 4 of them with us, but everybody was like, how do we not know about this? We might have to staff 2 teams next year.
Yeah, which is awesome. I mean, we keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger, but it is for us, again, it's about that relationships.
Yeah.
Right? So when we put this on, it is simply a thank you for everything that they've done for us.
That's super
right?
cool.
And so, I just come like, hey, entertaining people and giving them experiences that are not really that obtainable, right? And so being able to do that for them, I think is something cool that we're blessed to be able to kind of put on for them. So
yeah, we had our MVP quarterback in here 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, he crushed it. He's crushed it. No one could get it.
No, he's a beast. Let's go back. I saw something you guys got coming up this summer. As a golfer myself.
Well, actually, before we dive into that one, the outing is for Foundation for Pops. So let's touch base on your foundation real quick.
So when we first opened our office, we kind of put this thing together called Pop's Closet. So Pops is my grandpa. That's his nickname was Pops, and he fought in Vietnam. He came back. He was an addict, struggled to get his footing, and ended up homeless. But every day he would show up. He'd walk me to school every day, right? And so, when he passed away, and as I got older, I always wanted to honor him in some manner, right? Because I'm not sitting here if he didn't teach me a lot of life lessons along the way.
Probably
right?
a lot of advice on those walks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you don't realize at the time you're a kid, right? And you're just walking with grandpa, but, you learn so many life lessons. And so, we just had this closet, and you could come in and get clothes for interviews. You can get non-perishable food items, feminine products, right? You name it. No judgment. You just come in, take whatever you want. But we soon realized that need was so much bigger than that, right? That need was huge. And so we really went out and we said, all right, how do we make an impact? And so we started Foundation for Pops. We dedicated a percentage of our profit to the foundation that goes in the foundation every year, and went out and hired its own team, its own executive director. And really, I just wanted them to hear my vision and just grow it, take it. And I'll support you in any way I can, right? But I'm trying to grow a for-profit business. But you take it and grow it and just make this thing huge, and focus on homeless veterans, focus on people in need and how we help people get back on their feet.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Obviously, we have the OSP Cares subsidiary. I think that when you have good culture, charity just goes right with it. It's a perfect marriage. The video probably will it play well, or will that come through? You want to play the video?
Play it all. Watch it.
How many events do you put on a year?
We do several of these. We actually do this almost weekly, where we get out over by the bus station downtown and just pass out hats and water bottles and whatever we can kind of get together. But we have a couple signature events, like our first golf outing's coming up, which is a huge,
you want to scroll up to that,
thing.
Shota might be in for this. He's crossing over to the dark side now that he's getting a little bit older. He's ready to start playing some, less contact.
I gotta join
sports.
the club.
So I'll be working with Shota here the next couple months. Unfortunately, where'd you go there, Shota? I am out of town that weekend. Everybody decided to book everything the weekend of July 19th and 20th. So OSP Sports Entertainment, we've got Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight is that Saturday.
I think Wafa's putting me ringside for that. So
you hear that,
I'm supposed
Wafa?
to fly in right after.
So I'm out of town that weekend, and I love this golf course. Pheasant
It's a great
Run.
course.
Do you play a lot of golf?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Pheasant Run.
I keep getting on Dean and Bassam, like, guys, you're to the age now, it's time to start playing golf and not basketball.
Yeah.
CB and I play on the weekends a lot. Again, Pheasant Run's dope. And this is for the charity, the Pops charity.
Yeah. Foundation
Awesome.
for Pops.
Friday, July 19th. Wafa, we got to field a team. I'll be the general manager, but unfortunately, my
team member number one.
Yeah, and then we get to put the Foundation for Pops on a NASCAR Memorial Day weekend down in Charlotte.
That's super cool.
Man, that's.
So how'd you end up with the NASCAR stuff?
That's
were you a NASCAR fan growing up?
No, not at all.
Really?
Right, yeah, still not a NASCAR fan. No.
Great people watching.
Oh, one of our customers kind of connected me to the NASCAR space, and I kind of fell in love on the business side. Right?
Yeah.
Because the business side of NASCAR is like super cool, and watching the race sort of isn't my thing, but the way that business is done at the racetrack, that is amazing.
It is. I actually grew up a NASCAR fan a long time ago, and then my grandfather, he takes my dad and my uncle, he's got a permanent space inside Daytona, so they go both weeks for the whole week. I've been to Talladega and the Michigan stuff. It's a whole different game there. It's like one of those things where on TV you're gonna fall asleep, but when you go to it, it's totally different.
It's exciting. I mean,
yeah,
it's loud.
Oh yeah,
right. But just the excitement of it kind of coming by. But the business that's done in and around the sport, has been amazing.
Yeah. So definitely OSP is in for the golf outing. What do you got? What else you gonna get? You get Tucker, Caleb.
We can find a few folks. Yeah. We can field we'll get a team
easily.
together. Yeah.
Get some marketing out there.
You doing like whole sponsorship opportunities?
Yeah, whole sponsorship.
Let's get a whole Wafa. Yeah.
We can chat about that.
And if you find another date that maybe makes more sense, just let me know.
Yeah, the golf course will love that one.
I'm always telling Wafa at OSP, like, we need more fine golf outings for us to get it, and she finds one.
Yeah, so we do a lot though. We do a lot of charity outings.
Yeah.
Just getting the team out and going to golf, and that's always fun for them.
So as we close this thing down, anything else we got going on in 2024 you'd like to get across, talk about, share?
No, I mean, we just, obviously we're growing, we're expanding. It's a good company, good culture, good people, and we just have the most amazing customers out there that just continue to try to fuel that growth. And, they know I never say no. Right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. We're just like, all right, we're going to figure it out. And not only are we going to figure it out, we're going to do it at a high level. And so it's just about getting the right people into place. And so we're doing a lot of hiring. So obviously, come see
That's
us.
always a good thing, right? Because you see in the news, these days, somebody's laying people off all over the place. I saw Ford just laid a ton of people off for the Lightning plant, which one of our good friends actually, that's his baby, is the Ford Lightning. He just moved to Germany for a 2-year gig with them over there. Wow. UPS, we had Keith on here a couple weeks ago. They had that mass layoff. So you guys definitely are doing something right if you're always hiring.
Yeah, we're trying.
CB, any final thoughts, sir?
Hey, just looking forward to your growth this year, and looking forward to the golf outing and future partnership.
No, for sure, us too. So hopefully we'll see you out next year at the birthday bash.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We got to run it back.
And,
we got to defend the title.
It was a pleasure having you on here. I hope our viewers took something from that. What I definitely take from it, is doesn't matter if you're fresh out of school or 5 years experience or over 10 years experience in corporate America. If you've always been aspiring to be an entrepreneur, don't be scared to bet on yourself, push the chips to the center of the table, especially if it's for a good cause and benefits the community. So I really appreciate you coming on and,
thank you.
Dumping as many resources as you do into the community here. It's really cool to see. And I think this is probably, one of the first of many, things we'll try to do together. And maybe we'll be on your podcast.
Yeah, I like it. We're going to get it up at some point.
Yep, just jump in, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Have a plan, but don't have a plan. As always, my team, my family, my OSP, we out of here.